Assalamu alaikum, Wakai. Welcome back to the Jello Football Bantaba YouTube channel. This is your boy Chama, guys, and this is the Scorpions Weekend recap. It's been a while since I recorded such kind of content. Reviewing the performance of Gambia foreign-based players and stuff like that. Um, as you guys may know, the African Cup of Nations was ongoing. Most of the Gambian players were called for international duty. Of course, there were some who stayed with their clubs, but also most of these European leagues were on their winter break, and some of them their season has ended, like the Scandinavian countries, Sweden, Denmark. Those leagues were ending, and then you go to places like Austria. Even in England, there were some, there were some breaks. Saudi Arabia, there is a break. So most of the leagues that Gambian players were playing were on international. Yeah, we are on winter break. Sorry, not international. So that was the reason why um, we did not record the content, but also we were covering the African Cup of Nations. Like I say, there was we had. I'm sure you guys enjoy. We are following the developments of our shows, the watch along shows and stuff like that, covering the African Cup of Nations. So yeah, that kind of consumed our energy during that particular period. But again, we apologize for not reporting, even though there were very few players playing during that particular time. But we're back and we're here ready to go. So without further ado, guys, let's jump into it. First, we start in England this week. Stockport County, Ibuture Stockport County. He returned from the African Cup of Nations, and this was his first game back. He came off the bench in the played the final 18 minutes. They won the game 5-1. And they maintain their position at the top of the table. Another team that is very close to them on the table, that is Wrexham. Jacob Mendy, he also returned for them, but they were not in action in the league. They were not in action in League Two. They were playing in the FA Cup. They had to play against Blackburn Rovers in the fourth round of the FA Cup. Unfortunately for them, they lost the game 4-1. Jacob played 22 minutes in that game. But they maintain their spot also in the top three of League Two. Still in League Two, Swindon Town, that is Seydou Khan, who was not involved in the African Cup of Nations. He was not. He did not make the cut of. He did not make the final 27-man cut. He played for Swindon. They won the game 2-0. That was his 26th start for the club in the league, in League Two, in 29 games. So he's quite regular when it comes to playing. When it comes to getting minutes for them. Yeah, I bumped into a Swindon fan in Japan here, and we were discussing about the club because I saw his kids were wearing, because the academy I coach. Some of the kids they come with the Swindon jersey, and then we were speaking about Seydou Khan. He's quite liked there. His on the ball qualities are very much appreciated and stuff like that. So hopefully he can continue that. They won their game 2-0 this weekend, like I say, and able to play the 90 minutes. Walsall, Mofal, who was on loan at Doncaster Rovers in the first half of the season, returned to his parent club midway, West Bromwich Albion, and now he's sent on a second loan in League Two, and this time with Walsall. Walsall, a kind of a mid-table team compared to Doncaster. Doncaster are struggling at the bottom of the table. Mofal had an exceptional time at Doncaster, 9 goals and 1 assist. That is 10 goal involvement during his time there. Now he is, with Walsall. He made his debut this weekend. They drew 1-1. He played about 60 minutes of our game. Next, we move to Germany. HSV Hamburg. Bakary Jatta plays there. And yeah, Hamburg is a massive club, Hamburg is a massive club, and we see recently that Bakary Jatta just signed a new contract in the last week or so. He signed a new contract with them, which will see him stay at the club until 2027, if I'm not wrong, 2027. Yeah. Yeah. Jata has been like a very key component of that team, and it was no different this weekend. They were playing against Karlsruhe, Karlsruhe, and they lost the game 4-3, which kind of took them off the top three of the Bundesliga too. They have been pushing for that, that promotion to League One for the past few seasons, but it has not materialized yet. Last season they went all the way to the playoffs. They lost the playoffs. The season before that they went all the way to the playoffs. They lost the playoffs. And this season they were quite in the top two, where because automatically two top two teams will go automatically to Bundesliga. The third team will play the third best team, the third worst team in the Bundesliga for a playoffs, and then the winner of that playoffs will get the chance to play in the Bundesliga. But unfortunately, they have not gone past that stage in the past two seasons, and now they have dropped totally away from the top three because this 4-3 loss they lost this weekend meant that they are now fourth in the Bundesliga too, but just 1 point or 2 points, just 2 points behind second and third. So they are still within reach, which is a good thing. But Bakary Jata was in good form this weekend. He scored a goal, assisted a goal. It was a very, very entertaining game, I would say, because Hamburg were losing 2-0. And then Bakary Jata, got the first goal. And then eventually they got the second goal, which made it 2-2. Then, Karlsruhe has scored again to make it 3-2. And then Bakary Jata created another chance for their striker Glatzel to score to make it 3-3 before Karlsruhe scored another goal to win the game 4-3. It was a thriller. 4-3 games are wonderful, and especially when it comes to teams going up and down, taking the lead and then the other team coming up. So it was quite interesting. Now they are fourth, but now they need to kick on and then try to push again to get into that top three spot, preferably in the top two, so that they can evade that playoff spot. But first of all, I think they need to find ways to get in wins again. In Italy, Sibi was in exceptional form as well. Sibi, he was one of those goalkeepers. He was also in the provisional squad for the national team before the African Cup of Nations, but he did not make the cut. He was dropped by Coach Tom. But he has been in exceptional form. I think for the past 2 months, he has been the best goalkeeper for Gambia. At least for us in the Jollof Football Bantaba, when we make our team of the month, he has been in the goalkeeper of the month for the past 2 months. Some leagues were not in action during that time. Bawel Gay was not playing for his club. He was mostly on the bench. Steck was not playing because they were on a break, and then the other options were Toldo, and then the Swedish league was also on break. So there was not a lot of competition when it comes to, but he has been the one performing, and that is what he just continued. He got his 7th clean sheet of the season, and this one was special. This clean sheet was absolutely special. The game went 0-0. It was a goalless draw. But they are in the 78 minutes, something like that. They considered a penalty versus Verona, and CSCB stepped and then saved that penalty. So from the resulting rebound, a player tried to score again, and then he was fouled again. And then the opponents, that is the Vicenza, they won another penalty, which came in the 81st minute. So, and then he saved that penalty again. So in the 79 and the 81st minute, CSCB saved 2 penalties in one game. So not many goalkeepers can brag about saving 2 penalties in one game, and that is what he got. And then he also kept the clean sheet in the process. That was exceptional. So that was an exceptional performance. 7 clean sheets for him in the Italian Serie C. So long may it continue for CSCB. I'm sure the new coach that is coming in will start, considering other players as well, because the recent national team setup was kind of very close for some players. So hopefully the new coach who will be coming will base all his selection based on merits and performances. At the end of the day, that is all what I'm hoping for. We move to Belgium. Genk were also in action. Ali Fadera returned to his club. Before the AFCON, he was in exceptional form for his club. He was nominated for Player of the Month in December, and then he came into the African Cup of Nations. He was one of those players that you think the form he is coming with is the right form going into a competition like the AFCON. And I think he did not disappoint. He had a decent game, especially in his cameo game against Cameroon in the final game. He was the one who made the changes. Coach made the changes, but that particular substitution, it was through him that we got the goal. That is Abla Diallo's goal. He created that assist, and he was a problem for them. He was a problem for the Cameroonian defense when he came on. He was close to even scoring a goal in that game. So yeah, he has been in good form, and that is just what he's continuing with his club. He returned, and then he was thrown straight back into the starting 11. he played about 89 minutes of that game, but it took him just 2 minutes to get into the goals. He created the goal. They scored in the second minute of the game. He created the assist, and then before that he later went on to concede a penalty. Which fortunately for him, the opponents did miss that penalty. Now he has 6 goals involvement for Genk in his first 15 games, which is a good return for him. Because if you consider the start of the season, he struggled to get into the team here and there. He was coming off the bench or starting one game and then he will not play the next 2 games. So it was difficult for him to be rhythm. But recently, since December, he has found that rhythm and now he's on 6 goal involvement. Hopefully, he will kick on into the second half of the season and have a very strong second half of the season. That is what I'm anticipating for Aliou Fadera. And staying in Belgium, the other Gent, not Genk, but Gent, Gent. They made a move involving a Gambian, Modlamin Sonko. Of course, we all know he will. He is unlikely to represent Gambia because I think Coach Tom tried to convince him to come and play for Gambia, but we don't have any indication of that discussion, so we don't have the insight of that discussion, how it went, what he said to Tom. Was it that he was not ready for Gambia? Was it that he was not interested to represent Gambia? And that question was never followed up or to Tom to ask him what was the answers that Mulamin Sonko gave him. But nonetheless, he has some Gambian in him, and as far as he has not represented Sweden, he's a player that we will be looking at in when we covering foreign-based players. And this week he made a big move, €8 million move to Ghent. From Häckens. Häckens, he had a very good season in the Swedish league last season, scored some very good goals. He got into double figures for goal involvement last season. He scored in the European League. And he's a very young boy. He's 18, 19? Yeah, very young boy. And the sky is the limit for him. Like, he's a player that I'm sure if we could have him as a country, Gambia, he could be a very important. Because I can see him going all the way in his career. He's a very good player. So we wish him all the best in his move to Ghent in the Belgian league. So he will cross path with Aliou Fayeda. Hopefully, Aliou Fayeda can bring some words, some advice for him to represent Gambia. Because personally, from a selfish point of view, I want to see him represent Gambia. But of course, I know Sweden, take care of him. Sweden is his country, it's his other country. That's the country he knows. So it's a competition between Gambia and Sweden. And as it stands, it seems Sweden is where he prefers to play for. But yeah, as long as he has not represented them, let's remain a little bit of hopeful and let's remain a little bit hopeful, hoping that he will come and represent. He will come and play for Gambia. Yeah, and then next one, we move to France. We have a few players playing in France. Stade de Reims, Metz, and Grenoble. There are some Gambians playing there. Stade de Reims, we have Adam Aboya. He got another cameo appearance, just a few minutes this time. And against Nantes, they drew the game 0-0. That's his 5th cameo of the season. I think so far, the best amount of minutes he has in the game is 20. And that was in the Cup. So, yeah. He has not had enough time to actually have an impact, but again, he's at that stage of the career where he has to be impactful when he uses these minutes. You cannot blame him for not having impact so far within his first 5 games because he's not having the minutes that can be very impactful. But now is a very good time for him to take this opportunity because of some of the senior players in his club are currently on international duties with their national team, like in Japan. There is Ito is with the Japanese national team, and there is also, I think, Nakamura. He was also with the national team. They are all attacking players. So when they return, it will be difficult, even more difficult for him to find game time. So while they are away, so he should try to take that opportunity. But yeah, it's just cameo for now. We hopefully he can get more minutes, accumulate more minutes under his belt, and then that will help him try to have impact in games. Elsewhere in France, Metz Germano, unfortunately for him, he was not involved this weekend because he came back with an injury, hamstring injury. We remember in the final game for Gambia in the African Cup of Nations, he scored that wonderful goal, the first Gambia goal of the African Cup of Nations, and then he later went out with a hamstring injury, which is very unfortunate because last AFCON too, that was how his AFCON ended. He played, got injured, and then that's how he returned to his club. So yeah, he has been a very unfortunate when it comes to injuries, Germano, and we wish him speedy recovery on that one. If you go to League 2 in France, Sekou Touré was in action for Grenoble at home. They drew 1-1. He came on in the last 20 minutes. Bambalai was not involved in that team. He was not involved in the squad. I'm sure it has to do with the African Cup of Nations coming back and stuff like that. Next, I will move to Cyprus. This one, I would like to give a shout out to Hamang, one Mr. Jobate. Let me just call him like that. Yeah, he reached out to me, telling me about Zakaria Sawo. I know the player, of course. I know the player. Prior to that, I've monitored the player, but not to that extent. But he's having a very good season in Cyprus. He plays for a club called Aris. Aris are currently in the second position in the Cyprus league. And Sawa is doing really well. In the last two games he scored. This weekend they won 6-2, and he came off the bench to score a goal. Like I say, he scored in the last week too. So back-to-back games he's scoring. Aris are currently second in the Cyprus league, 4 points away from APOEL. APOEL, I think most of you guys have heard them. They have been in the Champions League a few times. So yeah, that's who they are competing against in the Cyprus league, and now they are in second, which could put them in a position to qualify for European competitions next season. And Zakaria is doing really well. Zakaria, he's also a Swedish-born, by the way. He's a Swedish-born player, but according to Mr. Jobate, Zakaria is interested to play for Gambia. And he's doing well. He's doing well there. He's just 22 years old. So these kind of players, we can tap into them if they show interest to represent the country and they have that if they have that connection, like the heritage is there, or they have through their parents, they have the Gambians in them. So we should take the opportunity. I'm sure Mr. Jobate maybe know the guy, and he has expressed his will to represent Gambia. He's doing well with his club in Cyprus. Is it time? Maybe the next coach who's coming, he might consider him for the national team. Yeah, he might be playing in Europe next season, with his club. Just 22, so attacking player, so we should consider that. In Netherlands, Minte returned from the African Cup of Nations. He was decent, I would say. The only thing that let him down during the African Cup was his end product. I heard that Barcelona were there scouting him. I'm sure any scout who went to the African Cup, he didn't have the greatest of African Cup of Nations, but any scout who was watching him during that competition, they will see the massive potential that this kid had. He was exceptional when it comes to taking on his players, any fullback that was up against him did not have the best of games because he gave them a torrid time. That's what he did. Jakite had a difficult time with him against Senegal, even though Senegal won the game 3-0. Jakite will be the happier one, of course, but he gave him a very difficult time during that one. They ended up doubling up on him against Guinea. He scored a goal which was later ruled out for offside. He gave problem for that fullback. Immediately he was on the pitch. Against Cameroon, he was like a menace for the Cameroonian right back. The only problem that he had during those games was the end product, like the final pass and that. Yeah, but he's a kid at the end of the day, 19 years old, so you have to give him that. Yeah. He returned for his club, that is Feyenoord. They were playing against FC20. They drew 0-0. He came on for the final third of the game. Unfortunately for them now, the gap between them and PSV is quite massive. I don't think they can claw again those points. So it's going to be very, very difficult. Yeah, he played 30 minutes. Unfortunately, they should have won that game, I would say, because they had a penalty in the game, and Jimenez, who has been in exceptional form for them, Feyenoord, he missed that penalty. Next in Switzerland, Sedi Janko and Ibrahim Okoli, they all returned to Young Boys' squad this weekend. Sedi Janko did come off the bench and played about 20 minutes of that game, or about 30 minutes of that game, but they lost the game 1-0. Ibrahim Okoli was an unused sub. They played against Basel. They lost the game 1-0. And finally, in Turkey, Besiktas crossed paths with Sivasspor, that is Modu Baro and Omar Koli. Modu Baro, of course, he was not in the AFCON squad. He was there the previous one, but this time he was not included in the squad, not even in the provisional squad. Besiktas, of course, Omar Koli, the captain, he was injured in the final game we played against Cameroon. He had to come off the bench. He had to come off during the first half because of his injury. No, actually, second half. I say first half. He had to come off in the second half because of his injury. He was back for his club. His recovery took him very, very short time, which is a good thing to see. He played the whole 90 minutes in this one. Mo Baro also started the game. Sivasspor won the game 1-0. And elsewhere in Turkey, Ali Sow was also thrown straight back into the starting lineup for for Ankara Gucci. They lost the game 1-0. Alisson played about 73 minutes, guys. Yes, guys, that was the weekend recap for Gambia foreign-based players. If you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. And yeah, we'll be back again for with more. Good day, guys.